After Florida adopted its benchmarks for excellent student thinking standards in 2020, the Department of Education distributed recommended reading lists, and it said that it included the top of the line literary works with world-renowned titles. And obviously William Shakespeare should be in that list. I mean, not that difficult. I mean, Shakespeare shouldn't be controversial, but apparently it is in the state of Florida. Teachers are now shying away from the author to comply with Ron DeSantis's state law restricting books with and instruction about sexual content. And apparently some of Shakespeare's work has elements that are just too racy for conservative parents. And so instead of actually having the literary work in its entirety, they're only gonna allow excerpts, just excerpts from his work. Okay. So English teachers in Hillsborough County are preparing lessons for the new school year with only excerpts from William Shakespeare's works. Students will be assigned pages from the classics, which might include Macbeth, Hamlet, and the time-honored teen favorite, Romeo and Juliet. But if they want to read them in their entirety, they will likely have to do it on their own time. Sounds great for education. Like, this is fantastic. How wonderful. I'm assuming this is what, in high school? Let me tell these parents something. Your kids have seen worse. Much, much worse.
They're looking at worse right now.
As we speak, absolutely. Your kids aren't precious little angels. They live in a society.
Yeah.
And in this society where mass media sells sex incessantly, are you really gonna delude yourself into thinking that censoring Shakespeare is gonna protect your precious little angels from knowing about sex?
Yeah.
What is this?
Yeah, like you would be so lucky if what they were doing was reading Shakespeare.
For real.
Like honestly,
it's
like
so true.
If they put down the Andrew Tate TikTok video to read A Midsummer Night's Dream, you're doing okay at that point, I think. And by the way, it's old-timey language. They're not even gonna know what he was talking about. I barely did, and I read a lot growing up. Only Brett gets it. He's the only person who reads it recreationally for the pornographic content. Most people, it'll go way over their head. They won't even know what they're referring to.
Brett Ehrlich, who hosts Happy Half Hour here at TYT and does very important programming work behind the scenes, is a fanatic for Shakespeare. And I think we need to do a wellness check to make sure he's okay.
And maybe the reason he is such a interesting character is because his mind has been rotted by years of Shakespeare.
Maybe.
Yeah, look, this is obviously ridiculous. The idea that Shakespeare should be unacceptable. And by the way, it's not even in this case that they're being ordered to. It's that Florida has created intentionally such a culture of fear that teachers and librarians don't want to be locked up for the rest of their life. So they're looking for things to censor so that they can save themselves. And so that's arguably worse. And some people might think, well, oh God, this is backfiring. This could encapsulate some conservative literature too. First of all, there's not much. Second of all, they don't care. They're not worried that the next generation isn't gonna be creative or open-minded or cultured or whatever. They're not interested in that. This is only a problem for people who are not terrified of literally everything they see.
Now, Joseph Kuhl, who's a high school teacher, says about this whole debacle, there's some raunchiness in Shakespeare because that's what sold tickets during his time. And that's what sells tickets now.
Yeah.
Right? And again, I just can't emphasize enough how ridiculous it is to freak out over Shakespeare in high school classes, knowing what high school students see with their own two eyes on a daily basis, both online and in the real world, in advertisements and mass media. Like, this is insane. Now, so Kuhl makes a really good point, and that same argument is being used in the Florida-approved PragerU children's videos. So remember, while things like Shakespeare are being censored, Florida has approved PragerU, a politicized propaganda machine, to essentially have their materials used in education there. So let's take a look at this next video.
Slavery, you didn't deny that.
Deny? No.
Slavery is as old as time and has taken place in every corner of the world, even amongst the people I just left. Being taken as a slave is better than being killed, no? I don't see the problem.
Well, in our time, we view slavery as being evil and terrible.
Ah, magnifico. That's wonderful. I am glad humanity has reached such a time. But you said you're from 500 years in the future? How can you come here to the 15th century and judge me by your standards from the 21st century?
That is laughably condescending to the audience.
That is okay. And very clearly, it's propaganda. That's exactly
That's
what
all
that
it is.
That's all it is. That is okay. That has been approved. But Shakespeare in its entirety, without just resorting to excerpts, not allowed.
Yeah,
This is just
too
so
raunchy. Too raunchy.
This is actually going to make kids want to read Shakespeare more.
I hope
I think
so.
it's going to have the opposite effect, which is going to be hilarious.
I think best case scenario coming out of this, kids want to read Shakespeare, some of these other banned books, and whatever I publish. That's best case scenario for American society. But I love how condescending that is to the people of the past, but also the people today. Like, how could you judge us by the standards of 500 years from now? First of all, slavery did not end 500 years ago, you jackass, and I think you know that. Second of all, there were people then that thought it was bad to have slaves. That was not some new technology that we developed in the 70s. The idea that if you lock someone up, beat them, rape them, separate their family, murder them, work them into the ground, force them to not be educated, that's a bad thing. I think the slave masters at the time would have thought if it happened to them that was bad. And that we didn't come up with empathy in the 70s either. People knew it, they did it anyway. Crimes have been committed for personal profit throughout time. That doesn't mean people were under delusions that it was ethical.
And by the way, I just want to go to one other Prager video. This is the one that's been getting a lot of attention lately online, but in case you missed it, basically it's Frederick Douglass spreading lies about America's history of slavery. So have you seen this video?
I have not seen this. I don't watch any of these.
Yeah,
I don't live in Florida and I'm not a kid.
This went viral online, considering how this is the kind of approved material that can be used in public schools. Let's watch.
Children, our founding fathers knew that slavery was evil and wrong, and they knew that it would do terrible harm to the nation. They wanted it to end, but their first priority was getting all 13 colonies to unite as one country. The southern colonies were dependent on slave labor, and they wouldn't have joined a union that had banned it.
Are you okay with that?
I'm certainly not okay with slavery, but the founding fathers made a compromise to achieve something great: the making of the United States. It was America that began the conversation to end it. But Leo is correct that big problems need to be approached very carefully. Have you kids heard of William Lloyd Garrison?
No. Nope.
He's an abolitionist like me, and he and I used to be friends, but we aren't any longer. We don't agree how to solve problems. William refuses all compromises, demands immediate change, and if he doesn't get what he wants, he likes to set things on fire.
Sounds familiar.
Sounds like you know the type.
Yeah, we've got that type in our time.
So, you're trying to work for change inside of the American system.
Precisely, Layla.
Man.
I love that. I don't find that nearly as bad as the first one. I mean, the animation is terrible. The voice acting is utterly
voice
horrible.
acting is just top notch.
But like, the biggest issue for me there is but America is the person who started the conversation. Yeah, America, like all of it. Everybody in America was just, they were like, you know what, we should probably talk about ending this thing. Don't generalize to protect people. Which Americans wanted to have that conversation? Which Americans did want to have that conversation? This is gonna blow your mind. There are Americans even to today that aren't comfortable with a conversation about how bad slavery is. They make videos like the one we just watched.
Yeah, this is all so depressing.
I also really fast. I love effectively what we're seeing, which is animated blackface. You have rich white conservatives creating fictional versions of historic black Americans to spread their white racist lies. That is wild.
I just have a really big problem with this current climate of politicizing everything that should not be politicized, including education.
Yeah.
And especially at a time when we have a very real problem of students not even being able to read. I mean, what are we doing? Using public schools as a political battleground in order to implement your political propaganda is gross. And it's gross regardless of which side does it. Obviously, in the state of Florida, clearly the right wing is doing it. And it's just gonna dumb people down further.
Yep.
It's just, that's what the goal is here, right? To propagandize, to politicize, and to honestly take away from instruction that actually empowers these students with the education they need to thrive in the future. That's what's happening here.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But don't worry, I mean, if the education system fails you, they'll push you into, working at like a chicken processing plant at 14.
Look, I don't want to be conspiratorial, but it appears to be the goal, especially when simultaneously, with all of these anti-education efforts, they're trying to loosen child labor laws.
Yep.
And we've done so many stories of child labor laws already being violated, and they keep doing it over and over again because they just get a slap on the wrist. These companies just pay a fine, and then they look at the profits they made by underpaying, minors for the work that they're doing illegally.
Some of whom die.
Some of them die. We did a story about a Guatemalan teenager at a poultry plant who was killed in an accident. He was in an area of the poultry plant that he wasn't even supposed to be in, right? But the company gets a fine, and that's it. They're done with it. They'll do it again. Yep. In fact, they do it again and again. They repeat the crime because if it's just a fine, if they don't have to worry about actual criminal consequences for what they're doing, they're gonna keep doing it because it's gonna help them maximize their profits. It's that simple.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.